So I put up an Instagram poll on my story that basically said, ask me any MMA question you want to ask me and I will answer it. I, Tony Has Died, will be answering your MMA questions. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit, and let's get straight into it. First question on this list is from Davi Simula. I don't even know. He's a fucking big Instagram page. His name is Davi. Everyone just calls him Davi. Who do you think has the bigger schlong? Bryce Mitchell or Johnny Walker? I'm gonna have to go with Bryce Mitchell, bro, because honestly, he has. I think Bryce has bigger balls, but Johnny Walker probably has a bigger dick. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. Because Bryce shot his own balls off. So I don't know if that's necessarily true. I'll go with Johnny Walker because of that. The next one, we got back shots from Derek Lewis or crack Amanda Nunes. I think suicide would be the correct answer. All right. Next one says, do you like Colby Covington and who do you think he should fight next? Now, if y'all watched Holland versus Luque, Kevin Holland called out Colby Covington in his post-fight interview, and I think that that's the perfect fight to make. I think the trash talk between those two would be fucking amazing. And not just that, I think that it would be a pretty good fight as well. I think that Kevin Holland would probably end up getting it done. Now, the second question was, do I like Colby? Not really, and here's why. Like, I understand that it's a fucking personality that he puts on when he does his persona, but at the end of the day, he sold out his friendship to Masvidal for a couple bucks. You know what I mean? I really don't respect him for that. Like, as much as I don't like John Jones, that guy used to be his roommate, and he like talks shit about him, and he talks shit about Dustin. He talks shit about all of his old teammates at American Top Team. I think Colby needs to stick to streaming. I think he'd be a good streamer, or maybe he should do WWE, you know? Next question is by Captain Alyssa, and she says, what type of ladyboy do you think John prefers? I think John doesn't really like ladyboys. I think he just likes boys. I think he just likes men, all right? Straight up. This guy says, when did you realize your content was blowing up? When it got attention, I guess, bruh. This one says, Ian Gary's chair asks, who is the best member of Sabotage Squad? I gotta go with my editor, Fighter Parallels, honestly. He's probably the best member. This one says, what would each champ be doing if their jobs weren't the UFC? Pantoja, Uber, because that's literally what he did. Marab, construction, because that's literally what he did. Volk, he would definitely be a chef, some fancy restaurant. We'll count Ilya as lightweight champ, I guess, since he'll probably beat Charles. Ilya, what would Ilya be doing, bruh? Ilya, he'd be like a car salesman. You know what I mean? You can see Ilya selling cars. Islam, Dagestan, he'd probably just be like a goat herder or something, chilling in the mountains peacefully. Actually, he loves farming, so he'd probably be a farmer. I don't know what JDM would be doing. Probably, I don't know, I could see him like coaching something, being like a coach for some type of organization. 185, we got Drickus. Yeah, to be completely honest, I don't really know what the upper weight class guys would be doing. I don't really know what Tom and Kalayev or Drickus would do, but I know what the rest of the guys would do. Could Buckley actually beat Islam at 170? We have to see how Islam looks at 170 before we can answer that question, to be honest. Is Jan Blachowicz the GOAT? Yes. This one says, why didn't you put King Green in your video about clip farmers? Because I guess I could have put him, bro, but it's just because he never wins. It's kind of hard to put him in the clip farming tier list. You know what I mean? He's like clip farming, but he never actually wins when he's clip farming. How do you react when your petition's being referenced all over UFC media? I was pretty stoked to see it blow up pretty big because, you know, honestly, the petition is what brought a lot of more attention to this whole John Jones situation. So, yeah. If Khabib moved up to welterweight and fought Usman, how do you think that fight would have played out? I think Prime Usman probably gets that done just because he had 100%. People forget. Usman was the best takedown defense person in the UFC. 100% takedown defense for the longest time. So I'd probably end up picking Usman in that fight. This one says, hottest male fighter, Tagir Ulanbekov. For sure, bro. Favorite fighter from each division? Flyweight right now is Joshua Van. Bantamweight, gotta go Corey Sandhagen. Featherweight, Ortega. I guess you say Ortega because Ilya is a lightweight now. Lightweight, Dustin Poirier. Welterweight, we got Buckley and Shavkat. Middleweight, I'll go Chimaev. At light heavyweight, I'd go Pereira. And then at heavyweight, I'd go Cyril Gane. This one says, your top 5 favorite fights of all time. I'll say my favorite fight of all time, which is Yuri versus Glover, and then Max versus Dustin. Those are my 2 favorite fights. What if Dustin retires with the BMF belt? So they do O'Malley versus Yair for the BMF. What? Why would they do Yair with a BMF belt? They would never do that. It says, Dustin would have a better chance against Kamaru than Masvidal. W or L take? Dude, that's an L take, bro. I'm sorry. Kamaru Usman would just take Dustin down for sure, bro. I'm sure, dude, Dustin and Masvidal probably spar every day. You know, they used to be like primary training partners with each other. That's an L take, bro. That's an L take. Will you become a UFC reporter as in asking fighter stuff? Probably not anytime soon. Thoughts on JDM versus Buckley? I don't know, man. We have to see how Buckley looks, bro. Because he's really good at mixing getting the grappling and striking together. Yeah, I'd probably end up going JDM right now, just because he ended up stuffing all of those takedowns from Bilal, who I feel like is a little bit more well-rounded than Buckley at this point. That's a good fight. I'd probably pick JDM, though, at this stage. Change your name to John Has Died Already. No. Remove Nina Drama from the UFC petition. No. In your opinion, who wins in a fight, Tom Aspinall or Francis Ngannou? Tom Aspinall would win. Ciryl Gane was fucking up Francis on the feet, bro. Francis isn't taking Tom down. Even if he does, Tom will get up. He has better jiu-jitsu, and he has better grappling than Francis. This one says, who should Shavkat fight when he comes around for his once-a-year snooze fest? First of all, don't disrespect my GOAT, Shavkat, like that. But I do think he should return against Bilal Muhammad. I think that is a fight that makes a lot of sense. Bilal took a lot of damage, and JDM's going to take a lot of time off. Shavkat's in a surgery. The fight was booked previously. Run Shavkat versus Bilal. Does Merab become top 3 in the UFC all time one day? I think so. I mean, he already basically is, bro. Like, there's an argument that he has a better resume than DJ and GSP. Let's keep it a buck, bro. Merab low-key has a better resume than Volk. Now, do I think he's a top 3 all time right now? No. Because he's lacking in some title defenses and he's lacking in a couple of different areas. But resume-wise, yeah, he's up there right now. Jones or Aspinall? Khabib versus Prime Oliveira. Who wins these matchups? Aspinall probably beats Jones right now, but prime for prime, I'd go Jones. Khabib versus Prime Oliveira. Ooh, I'd go Khabib. Just because Oliveira struggles a lot with wrestling. Now, Khabib wasn't as good. Like, Khabib is really good against the cage. Now, out in the open, Khabib struggled to take down a lot of people. But so it really just depends if Oliveira comes in with a good game plan or if he has the same game plan he did against Arman, you know? This one says, do you think Strickland could do well at light heavyweight? Fuck no, bro. Fuck no. He's already a small middleweight, bro. He would get whooped by a lot of heavy. Like, you saw what happened the one time he did fight a light heavyweight, which was Pereira. Fucking slapped out cold, man. So I think that would happen a lot more often at light heavyweight. Those guys just hit differently. This one says Van's gonna get crushed by Royval. Probably, man. I'm gonna pick Royval by decision. This one says, is Tony Ferguson the GOAT? No. Where do you believe BJ Penn unironically ranks in lightweight? Dude, he's not even top 10. Let's keep it real, bro. Gaethje has a better resume. The wins over Tony and the win over Dustin, that's better than anything that fucking... That's better than anything that BJ Penn did, unironically, alright? First ever UFC fight watched. I watched Dustin versus Eddie Alvarez too when I was a young kid. Just because I was at a hotel and like they were doing a replays on the TV. And I watched that, but I wasn't even a UFC fan. So that was the first fight I ever watched. But the first fight I ever watched live was Khabib versus Conor. Who actually was the best fighter for 25 minutes? I give Volk versus Max 3, man. Do you think John Jones is homosexual? Yes. Prime GSP versus Prime Anderson Silva? I got Prime GSP, bro. Prime Dustin versus Prime Colby. I think Prime Dustin's got that. Thank you so much for donating to me. It means a lot. So this guy asks, what's your thoughts about former flyweight Jimmy Flick? Jimmy Flick is terrible, bro. Let's keep it a buck. If you're losing the Matt Schnell in 2025, then you fucking suck. Alright? Now, Jimmy Flick always puts on entertaining fights, but in the way that you don't want to, because he always loses the entertaining fights. So, who dethrones Merab? I think Umar. I think Umar will beat him, bro. Does Sandhagen beat Merab? No. This one says, is it crazy to think that Prime Volk could beat Prime Khabib by unanimous decision? I don't think it's that crazy of a take, bro, but we've seen what Khabib does when he has a weight advantage. You look at Khabib versus Conor. Khabib was a lot bigger than Conor in those fights, especially Conor coming off of the layoff. I think Volk would have to properly bulk to 155. And we don't really know what a prime Volk looks like at lightweight. Now, obviously, he fought Islam at 155, and you could say he properly bulked for that. But I still think that there's a better version of Volk at 155 than the one we saw against Islam. This one's the best picture. All right, look at that steak, man. That shit looks fire. You gotta give me a piece of that, alright? That shit, you cooked that shit perfectly. I'm not gonna lie. It better be red on the inside. I like my shit rare. But he asked, what's your favorite fighter? Dustin Poirier, bruh. How long do you see Merab as champ? He'll be champ as long as he doesn't refight Umar. I think Umar will beat him in the rematch. You be playing Elden Ring Night Reign. I haven't started yet because I'm playing Bloodborne right now. I wanted to beat Bloodborne before I start Night Reign. So yeah. Well, that will do it for the video. Thank you guys so much for asking me questions. If you want your question definitely answered, click the link in my Instagram bio. There's an app called Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to pay for a donation, I will answer your question on the video 100%. If not, just keep asking me these questions. Thank you guys so much for liking it. Thank you so much for 6,000 subscribers. It means so much to me. And if you like the video, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.